Oh, welcome everyone to another Simscot 185 important broadcast. And today it's a big day. We have the Just Flight uh, updates for the PA28 or 161 that have come into Microsoft Flight Simulator. So we're going to take it up for a little bit of a test ride, and that's it's going to be good fun. So I fly this aircraft in the real world. So we should be able to get some real world experience, should be able to give you some tips and tricks in terms of what we actually do when we're flying this in anger. Just checking out a couple of things on my streaming software, so bear with me 1 second, guys. Yes, interesting. I think you guys can hear me, but the music or my stream software is not doing it. Give me 1 second. It seems to be working. We'll bash on and I'll see what happens. Thanks, Ark. At least you can hear me. As long as someone can hear me, that's the main thing. That's what we're here to do. So here is the trusty seat, the PA28 161. This is the fixed gear version, and this is used throughout the world as a training aircraft. And the reason for that is it is massively forgiving as an airplane, and that's partly down to the wing design here. These big chonky wings that you get makes it quite sedate when it comes to things like stalling. Special feature, if there's ever a nuclear war, draw the curtains here, guys, and my little airplane has these curtains. We think there's probably, like, I don't know, lead in them or something like that that will protect us in some sort of nuclear fallout. But yeah, it's a lovely little aircraft used for many training schools. Probably at some point they'll replace them with more modern aircraft. It's quite it's not the most aerodynamic of planes when you look at it. It's kind of like a big square and then someone's whacked some wings on it. But yeah, it's a lovely aircraft to fly. I am a big fan of it, and we're going to take it up today, do a little bit of exercises. We'll do some navigating. It's a lovely day in the UK. We've got live weather on at the moment. I would actually normally be flying, but someone else has booked the airplane today. So, and this is the just flight model that's updated from 2020. Now, there are bits of it where you go, well, maybe they could have done a wee bit more. This is a bit blurry, but we'll take it up. We won't do the full walk around. I have done that in 2020, but ultimately, when you're walking around and you're checking things, you're just looking for damage, right? And you're checking fuel in there. Got some of the spats here, the tires. Want to make sure they're there. You have to awkwardly put your hand into this bit here and reach behind. Hey everyone, and that basically lets you check the belt in there that it's generating electricity when the engine turns. This little tab here that you can see just sticking out, that's the stall warner. So when the air pressure changes over the wing and the wing stalls, this actually lifts up and it creates a warning in there. So it's incredibly simple but very effective. Yeah, doing the walk around, you'll be looking, is anyone driven into your airplane, which can happen, dented the flaps, which are along here, or the air along as well. And then checking again here. All this is like a mini wing. If you look at the two of them, they're pretty similar in profile. But yeah, it's got it's very easy to fly. It's well, I say it's easy to fly. It's alright to fly. To get into an airplane like this, you stand on that little step there. Where it says no step, don't step on that. Usually you step on this bit here that's got the more tough material on it. Actually, as part of your walk around, you want to punch this button here with your thumb. If it opens, it means that the, in essence, the back storage area, this door will fold up the way. And if that happened in flight, you would be in quite a lot of bother. You also open up this side of the engine to check things like spark plugs, oil, and on this side there's a brake reservoir here which you can check your brake fluid, which is important as well because you want to be able to stop when you're on runways. We're on a grass runway. I've not flown much general aviation in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, so this will be a journey for everyone. And we'll see how we're going, but I hope everyone's having a great day as well. This should be a little bit of fun. Hopefully I can sort of demonstrate a bit what we do in the real world. I'm not going to do the full walk around because I think you guys would probably be a bit bored, but there's a lot to it. And when you do it, you kind of want to be alone so you can concentrate because there's a flow that you do. And if you miss something, and actually that's quite critical, you could miss something that would then interrupt the flight going forward. And by interrupt the flight, guys, I mean end up in a crisis. It's that serious. It's very serious flying. It's very serious. What is everyone up to with their weekends? It is lovely weather here. Start to get a bit warmer. Maybe summer is around the corner, but we'll need to see. So yeah, all good. Cool. So let's jump in to the aircraft. Bing bong. So I'm going to use my checklist that I have for my actual aircraft rather than the one here, see if it works up. So before we start the engine, we can have a little bit of a tour just for those who have not flown in a PA28 before, which I'm sure you all have if you've been a subscriber to this channel. Why else would you be watching, guys? So let's just look at the options that you are given here. So same as with a lot of the Just Flight aircraft, so you can go home, you can get a flight plan if you really want to put that in. You can have a map to show where you are, although I tend to find in 2024 these take quite a long time to load up. We're at Red Hill today, which I've flown out of many times, so we'll do that. You can get your Navigraph charts. Aircraft will come back to this. You can write some notes if you really feel the need. There is a checklist in here which we could follow, but we're going to follow my one. Top of descent, if you really want to do that, and then settings, sort of just some formats and brightness and things like that, so you can brighten this up. You can change the theme. Get your money's worth, guys. Aircraft, so you can actually tell the aircraft in terms of what state you want it to be in. Quackers, welcome. So you can tell the... you got your fence painted, I saw on Discord, my friend. It's good. Good work. So the aircraft can be ready for takeoff, ready for start, cold and dark. You can refill oil if you'd like to. You can recharge the battery. Copilot disabled. Ooh. Not sure what the Copilot does. They're not there. We'll disable them. Auto fuel selector. So if you don't want to worry, and then the PA28 down here, there is a fuel selector. It's quite important to have fuel. It's the way the PA28 works is the fuel tanks are where that red thing is there. So within that wing, the left wing, and in here, in the right wing. And so every so often, every 30 minutes or so, you want to switch between the two, and that ends up balancing out the weight and balance of the aircraft. What Just Flight will do, which is very handy of them, is if you feel the need, let's keep it on at the moment. Turn it off. We're a proper pilot. It will do it for you. You are sweating cob. What does sweating cobs mean? You'll need to let me know, Quackers. Sounds like you're working hard. You also have options here if you want to go old school in terms of you can have very old school Garmin's here, and the ADF finders. You can go completely digital, or you can do a mix, and we'll do a mix at the moment. I'm not going to use this radio. I'm going to use the Garmin if we do anything. Get the option of having chocks tie down. The airplane and wheel fairings. The airplane looks awesome with wheel fairings. This is just a personal preference, but you can't see them. But these things here, these little spats are great. And then we take them off. Oh, who wants that, right? Just doesn't look as good. So put that in. We don't have tie downs normally. You'd only do that if you're really in a place where you thought you were going to blow away. It is hot down here, Quackers. I'd normally be flying, but I was just saying earlier in the stream that the airplane's being used by someone else today. So I am doing the first look at this Just Flight aircraft using this. So let's go through the checklist that I have, and we'll just run through it verbally and you guys can listen along. So the first thing we have to do is make sure the cabin door is closed and secure. Now, when Mr. Piper put his aeroplane together, the man or the lady, sexist, but I think it was a man, he had great cost-saving ideas. So you'll see on this side there's a door with a door handle and a latch at the top here, and then you come to the pilot side, so you sit on the side, and there is nothing unless you really think you're going to get out the storm window, which, you know, if you're a contortionist, you may be able to. So there is only one door, unfortunately, or fortunately. So if you have a passenger, you need to brief them very carefully about getting out the airplane, because they are the one person who will need to lift that up. Oh, gosh, he says, doing that. And it should open then. There we go, like that. Lovely. So we need to check, excuse me, that is closed and latched. So that's the first part. Seats adjusted and locked, which we'll assume they are. There is a little, like a car seat, a little metal bar that you can slide them backwards and forwards, and you can also move them up and down. You may laugh at the retroness of these seats. We have these in baby blue, which is very important. And that little grey thing is an ashtray. And we just took these out because we're like, we really don't need them in the airplane. You might do a stream later today, Quackers. That sounds awesome. Where are you going to go to? They look very comfy. They are okay. They get quite hot in summer. I mean, imagine driving around in a car which has these sort of seats in them. And they're quite upright as well. But yeah, they do. They do the job. So seatbelts fastened. You can see, this is great, guys. If you're going to PA28, you're going to know exactly what to do. Don't worry about, oh, what's that? Oh, that's just the bulb. Never look behind me in the airplane. The seatbelt is actually up here. So that's the strap that goes across your shoulder, and then you'll see the lap belts here. And that little hook there hooks into that button there, and then you've got a proper seatbelt. Ah, Tuna's Air. So exotic, Quackers. I like it. Flying controls, free and full. So you do a little test where you basically do that, move it backwards and forwards, and as you do it, you can, if you so feel the need, and it is important to do this, if you look at the air along as we do this, it moves the way you expect it to. Very important. If it doesn't move the way you expect it to, do not go flying, everyone. It is very confusing. Carburetor heat is off. The carburetor heat is this little button here, and we'll explain a little bit more about that as we go flying. What this does is it introduces warm air into the engine, and it will get rid of any ice that can form in the carburetor, which is a common cause of engine failures. So you don't want to do that, everyone. Fuel selector, it says least full tank, not fuel tank. That's all good. We can choose either. If you want to turn the fuel off, move it to here. It's got a safety latch in it, so it's quite difficult to move it from the left or right tank into the off position for obvious reasons. We'll go to the left one. Yeah, I hope you're learning, Quackers, and taking notes. Avionics master switch is off. Some airplanes have them, so some don't. It's actually here in the Just Flight PA28. What else do we need to do? Master switches, come on. So there's two master switches, alternator and battery. You'll see that you get these warnings coming up. That's just to show that they are being tested and that battery is charging. Alex, welcome to the stream. How are you doing, sir? Instruments, you just check the condition. Basically, nothing's cracked. Everything's okay. Circuit breakers are down here. You can run your hand over them, and you can tell when a circuit breaker is not working because it does that. And if you run your hand across it, you'll feel that jutting out the way. How you doing, Alex? I feel like I'm educating people, which is very, very exciting. So, what else do we need to do while we're here? We can start the engine now. It's very exciting. So you do this. Oh, did I talk about the parking brake? Parking brake's on and on. So parking brake pulled towards you. It's like a car, a very old car. Pull that on. Parking brake's on. Push it up. There's a button here you press and it releases. So that's all good. So to start a PA28, everyone. Move the throttle a little bit forward. This is your mixture, very important. Mixture forward, back. You want it to be in the rich position when starting the engine. You also want the fuel pump to be on. And you'll hear that little ticking noise. confirm ticking noise. That's fuel pump basically helping the engine at the moment. You usually prime it. It doesn't actually seem to work in this, so I had a little play with it earlier. You can hear it, but it's not really doing anything. So we're not going to do loads of priming, but that basically squirts fuel into the engine to get it ready to start. Once you've done that, you shout out your little window here in glorious manners that you're going to start the propeller, and then you turn this key. Engine catches. You can see the gauges coming to life, and it's quite noisy because you've got this window open, but if you close it, aha, all good. There's usually a little light here to show that the engine starter isn't engaged and it's disconnected, so you don't get any issues from that side of things. So that's all good. Engine started. You normally want to keep your RPM about 1200, so we'll just nudge it forward. The reason for that is if you have it less than that, you can foul the spark plugs, and that can be very expensive to change. So you want to keep the engine ticking over so that spark plugs are not fouling, because they get too much fuel into them but they're not actually burning them. It's very complex. You're also looking at your oil temps. Now oil temperature, basically looking at it in the green, fuel pressure's in the green, and oil pressure's in the green, which is all we want. If you ever go flying in real life, everyone, do not trust that gauge or that gauge. In light aircraft, particularly old light aircraft, and this airplane was probably made in 1980-ish, they don't really work very well. So you kind of have to go outside and visually look at the fuel, estimate how much you're going to burn, and then go on that basis. So a little bit more jeopardy if you're going on a longer flight, but normally it is. It's usually pretty safe once you know what the burn is. But yeah, normally these gauges do not work in the way that they should do. It's a comforting thought if you ever get in an airplane that's older than yourself. It probably won't be able to tell you how much fuel you have left. I'll leave you with that comfy thought, guys, as we go through the rest of the checklist. So avionics master switch will now bring on, so that was this one over here. Bonk. You can see when we did that, the amperes, so this is the alternator, this is showing positive charge, so that shows that your battery is being charged by the engine. Perfect. Just what we want, everyone. You can see that by switching on the avionics, my Garmin is kicking into life. We should also put on our transponder. This lets air traffic control know where we are. And if you're in the UK flying visual flight rules, 7000 is the code to do that with. Be very careful if you're ever changing transponder codes when you may cycle through these. So if you decide to do, say, that, that's actually squawking an emergency globally. So you will flash up on the radar of whoever is watching you, and then you will probably get intercepted by some sort of jets. So sometimes when you're changing your transponder, it's better to put it to off, do that, and then turn it back on again. Lots of hints and tips today. Thought it was 2000. I think it's 2000 in the States, I'm going to say, quackers. But VFR is 7000 in the UK. It's interesting how different countries have things. So let's get the Garmin kicked into life. You hit enter, so okay, yes. This is not working in the way that it should do. So when it says left CDI, left flag, the left CDI, if it's half left, it'll be up here. So normally it's to check that this is connected to this, and it's doing a self-test, but it doesn't seem to work in this airplane. Which is fine, guys, it's just a simulator, don't stress out. It's got the fuel pump on, lovely. So normally you set your radios, I don't actually know. I wonder if they'll pick up the ATIS. He says, over-promising and under-delivering. 1 second, let me have a look if I can see what the ATIS is on my flying iPad for Red Hill. Do. Bear with, everyone. Right. So, if I'm trying to get the ATIS, what am I doing? 125305. So, let's put this as 125305. So 305 125 flip flop. Nothing. Beautiful. Okay, well, that normally you'd hear something. Good old MSS. Oh, hello. There you go. Doesn't actually sound like that, but oh, we're in.
1200 Zulu. Wind 079er at 14. Visibility tree. Sky condition. Few clouds at 6,400 feet. Temperature 21. Dew point 1. QNH 1017.
Very good. That's pretty cool.
Runway 08 right in use. Landing and departing runway 08 left and runway 08 right. VFR aircraft say direction of flight. All aircraft read back hold short instructions. Advise controller on initial contact you of Delta.
Beautiful. So, a few clouds at 6,400 feet. You wouldn't get that normally. It doesn't go up that high, the ATIS. In terms of they can't see clouds that high. So wind, QNH is 1017. That's important.
1017.
That's about
Runway 08 left and visual runway 08 right in use.
out there.
Landing and departing runway 08 left and runway 08 right. VFR.
Yeah. So that's how you get the information about where you are going to fly. And so that just repeats over and over in your headset, which is, can be a little bit annoying. So we've got everything we need, I think, guys, to get out of here. So hopefully that gave you a little bit of insight into it. What is very cool in 2024, which wasn't in 2020, is look, if I rev the engine, guys. Ooh. That's pretty cool. Big fan. Very big fan of that. I need to explain anything else to you lovely people watching this stream. Exactly, Crackers. Ooh. We'll put the anti-collision lights on. They're basically those ones on the end there. But you won't be able to see them because it's daylight. Look at this amazing thing. What a beast. Yes, Quackers. Yes, look. Things move outside the back of my airplane. It's excellent. What I'll also do for you guys is we'll bring up Navigraph charts here. And we will hide that and we'll zoom into where we are in the world. So this is a VFR map. Quite like to see where we are on it. So, I don't know if it'll show us. Well, oh, there we are. So we're parked here. We're gonna taxi over to 07 right, and the holding point is Golf 1. So we're gonna just do that and get ourselves out of here. Taxiing's very easy. Put the parking brake off, which we've done. Give it a little rev. Get rid of the chocks, which shouldn't even be there. And away we go. We'll just avoid this man here. Now, in 2020, this airplane was massively jittery, and it's still. It's not amazing on the grass, and it wobbles around, which is good. I'm alright with that. And you would taxi along the grass, but it doesn't wallow around like this. It's sort of it's got better suspension, so it doesn't. You're not in a boat going along like in the river, like bobbing over the place. I'm also a little bit nervous about this quite steep embankment, but we'll just go around that. It's all fine. Yeah, just taxi along. You'd be testing your brakes at this point. What is happening with this terrain? Oh, hold on, we stopped. It's too much hill. There we go. Beautiful. Do not want to go down there. And then down a hill, it seems. Okay, cool, Microsoft. We're all friends. We'll do the pre-takeoff checks, just so you guys have an idea of what that looks like, and then we'll get out of here. How do you know where to taxi when it's grass? A very good question, Quackers. So air traffic control at Red Hill, at least, will just say taxi across the grass. So you can kind of go wherever, as long as there's not airplanes in front of you. At Red Hill, it's quite interesting. So normally there's helicopters that park along this bit here, quite a big helicopter. And so if you're taxiing, you really want to come this way and then out to the runway this way, because it's downwash here. So you got to think about just what other people are doing while you are nearby. Anyway, we're close to the runway. Happy days. Very excited. Good question though, Quackers. So, we'll put on the parking brake here. We'll just do our checks. Normally do them into wind, which in theory will be coming this way, because we're going to take off in this direction, but we're here now. We'll just do them here. So, what'd you do? You put the parking brake on. Can we get a Perth to Edinburgh flight? Oh, maybe we can, Quackers. We need to see how much time we've got. So, let me just do this. Brakes, we set the parking brake. Oil and temps are in the green arc, which they are. You can see here the oil temp is in the green. It may be at the lower end, but it's in the green. Fuel pressure, bang on the middle, and oil pressure is green. By the way, when you see this little red light flashing, that just shows that it's transmitting your position. So it's quite useful to have that. If it doesn't flash, bad times, and you can test it by doing that. Beautiful. Fuel, you changed tank here, so move to the right tank. Beautiful. Throttle, we go up to 2000 RPM, so you're looking at this little dial here. Got to about 2000, bang on there. You do a magneto check, so what you're looking for is that this needle will drop when I move to the left magneto, like so. Back to both, goes up again, go to the right magneto, it goes down, back to both. Don't go to the start or whatever you do. It goes back. So the magnetos are working and will work independently, which is important. If there is an engine failure or you get a rough running engine, you might need to move just to one magneto. Sorry, one magneto is the wrong way to explain that. To the left magnetos or the right magnetos rather than both. Something to think about. Carburetor heat, we set hot, which is this. And again, if you just watch this little needle, when you put hot air into a engine, it will run rougher than if it's running on cold air. So rougher running, you'd expect the RPMs to drop. So if we put that in, that needle moved slightly, which is good, and you can hear a change in tone. Back up, and the needle is back in position. Perfect. Vacuum, which serves all these gauges here, is basically behind the iPad. There's a thing here that shows, you can see the needle is over where that white thing is, and it is creating suction, which is good. Oil temps and pressures with the engine running at 2000 RPM are all in the green. We've not got unusual readings, and fuel pressures in the limits. Throttle, we then pull back to our glide setting, making sure there's no like sputtering, no misfiring, and then back to 1200 RPMs. And that's your run-up checks done as quickly as that, guys. Yeah, Quackers, the plane is working correctly. We'll do a pre-takeoff, so trim, your trim wheel is down here between you and your passenger, and it's set in the neutral position. That's what that N is. You've got down and up, so it's okay where it is at the moment. Throttle friction is this. Look at that. That just tightens up the throttle. Mixture is set, as in that's forward. Carburetor heat is off. Magnetos are on both. Fuel selector done. Fill this tank. Electric fuel pump is still on, and we've got that. Primer is locked, which is here. We don't want that to open or get loose in flight. Flaps, if you're in a PA28 and you're on grass, good flap setting. It's 2 stages of flap, and you'd visually check that. Out here you can see the flaps are now set. Shoot that here. Yep, flap is there. That's the wing. Flying controls, free and full movement. You're doing our check, which we've already done, so we won't do it now. Seat backs are up, belts, everyone's strapped in. And then lastly, again, you do a check on the door. So you basically pull the door by the handle to make sure it is secure, and then we're all good. Cool. And then we'll just take off, guys, and do a little pootling around. But hopefully that's fairly informative as to how you set up a plane in general aviation on how to take off. Lovely. Okay, so grass runway. Take off. Normally, you don't line up with air traffic control actually telling you to. They're not as fluffy as what these ones look like. They're actually really well maintained. So they're usually cut quite short, and you can really make them out compared with the rest of the grass taxiway. So what we're going to do as we take off, we're going to just monitor oil temperatures, pressures are going to be in the green. Going to watch this needle. This is our airspeed at around 55 knots. We're going to take off, and we're going to head on out basically in this direction and do a little bit of exploring. So we'll just zoom out a little bit. We're going to head, normally when you take off, you're going to head towards Godstone Rail Station. There's not quackers. It usually stays pretty well cut. But what an awesome job, right? If you're the person who's in charge of cutting the grass, love that job. Away we go. So temps and pressures are in the green. That's 55 knots already. That's pretty quick. 60 knots. So we'll just bring the nose up. And we're away. Dip the nose a little bit, and that's just to get speed. And then we climb out. Want to climb out around 80 knots or so. But we do have flaps at the moment, so it's going to be a bit of a draggy climb as we go out. Lovely. Sounds just like the real thing. Positive climb here. You'll see. This is your vertical speed. First stage of flaps gets chucked away. No, hello. You can see there's a motorway we're just crossing. Get rid of the next stage of flaps. So that's flaps up. You can see the climb rate is much better when the flaps are up. Now, around this part of the world, there is quite a lot of airspace because Gatwick Airport's right down here, and we're here. So technically we can't go above 1,400 feet. 1,500 feet, but we would not go any higher than 1,400, just to give yourself a bit of a leeway between the air traffic, the controlled airspace above you. And all we're going to do is, you see this is a railway station. We could do a Gatwick flyover if you want. Let me get up in there first, quackers. So there should be, yeah, there is. So let's, we'll lower the nose and we'll just pull the throttle back slightly just to get into there. We're out of the climb now. Pull it back. Whenever you change throttle or attitude you want to trim. And actually what we are following is this railway line. You can see it going all the way into the distance here. So yeah, we'll do that. So that's how you get out of airports. And you'll see that you've got these little triangles and visual points. So these are visual reporting points that you need to know when you come out. So, quackers, you want to go and see Gatwick, which is technically very illegal, but we will do it for you. Where is Gatwick? Down here. So you can, it's quite cool. So when you take off in this part of the world, you can see quite a lot of large, heavy aircraft coming into Gatwick. Always gives you the heebie-jeebies. But we'll head towards it just for you, quackers, and we'll do a little cruise low pass down the runway. You can see how close we are already. It's in the distance over here. This is why Quackers Air Tours of the southeast of England is going to take off, because you're gonna promise people you can go down Gatwick's runway. What a nice little airplane though. Great views, You can see how big the wings are. Like they're this. I think the name in America is what they call it, like a Hershey bar type wing, and it's yeah, it's very forgiving. Yeah, it's a nice package, right? This the Just Flights. I think they've updated the Arrow, which is the one with the retractable gear. But yeah. And if you've never flown general aviation, this is good fun, right? Like if you really want to see what Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, the benefit of this scenery, it's when you're low and slow, basically. But yeah, it's lovely. So we can. I've been distracted because of the quacker's request, but normally you do top of climb checks. One of them is to remove the fuel pump. Take that out. There it is, quackers. We'll go down the middle of the 2 runways just for you. We're not on VATSIM, just to be clear as well, otherwise this would be very exciting. Here we go. You can actually, I've done it once, you can transition over the top of Gatwick in this airplane, and you usually go from this side and go over the thresholds and then go down here. Yeah, imagine me poodling in on VATSIM at the moment, everyone's trying to land, and then here comes Simscot in his little PA28. Wouldn't go down well at all. Lovely aircraft though. It's got good flight dynamics. It's fairly in the 2020 sim. I think it just got a little bit out of control with the turbulence and things like that. All right, I'll slow right down for you here. This is the freeware Gatwick scenery. I saw Any Builds have just released a version which could be tempting to look at. Get your cameras out as you go down here. It does make you appreciate how fast jets land and take off. Yeah, I think that's right, Quackers. It's not always the best performing, but ooh, don't actually want to land. That would be interesting, wouldn't it? Low and slow. I've seen simulators like struggling a little bit, but it's all right. There you go, Quackers. Away we go. So yeah, very good flight dynamics. You do have to be on top of your trim, because the moment you change throttle or pitch settings, the aircraft will get out of trim, and so it's quite a manual aircraft to fly. Wouldn't be able to do this really in real life. They would have something to say about it. Yeah. Else. You do some stalling, we'll go up and do a little bit of that and just see what that looks like as well, and then you can always go down to that Isle of Wight. Yeah, I would thoroughly recommend flying general aviation if you can on the 2024 platform. Go up to about 1500 and level off. So whenever you level off, or you want to fly straight and level one of these aircraft, don't leave your throttle at full power. They're not designed to do that. You probably want to be, and a lot of, like, again, you don't have a it's not like a car, right? You've got airspeed here. I normally look at my RPM setting, so I want to base it between 2000 and 2300. That is a nice cruising speed to be at in this plane. Where are we heading? Gone all over the place. Again, you wouldn't be able to do this in real life, but why not? Why don't we head down to the seaside? Beautiful. 2024 is playing nice. So there were updates to PMDG's 777. Can we fly into France? We could do. So the Airbus A350 got an update from any builds. The PMDG got an update. This got an update. X-Plane got an update in terms of its scenery. Like, how am I meant to fit this all into my streams? It's absolutely bonkers. We could fly into France. It's quite a long way away, Quackers. I mean, where is it? Let's see. It's quite a long way over there. Most people who fly general aviation to France will actually go over here, go across here, and the reason for that is it's short, and if your engine fails, you've got the best chance of either gliding to France or getting back to England. Some people will do this bit. The engine doesn't know you over water, right? So it shouldn't change anything that you do. But if you're going to ditch in the English Channel, it is busy. There's a lot of boats in the English Channel that would come to your rescue. A lot of people go here, which is Le Touquet Elizabeth II Airport. Lovely. And you can go down here. And you can go for the day from a lot of the airports in the south of England and your PA28 or whatever you choose to fly. Right, let's do a little bit to right. Why don't we go to Goodwood? You can also do some VOR tracking. This is always good fun to do. So 109.95. So to track a VOR, there's a whole other video I can do on this. Where's that? And what was it? 109.95. It's quite difficult to do this while you're flying along, but actually, to fly straight and level on these things is not too bad. It does have a basic autopilot. I'm not going to use it anymore. Ah, look at that. So, VORs are quite helpful because they tell you where you are in relation to a lot of things. So, what this is saying we're on a radial of 357 degrees from Shoreham, and if you think about where 357 is, it's basically up that way. You can do VOR tracking, so you can kind of go over this and then go out, and it's like a bike wheel with different spokes coming out of it, and you can track a radial going in and out. But that's pretty cool that works. I wonder if it can listen to it. Maybe not. Is that gonna work? No. Okay. That's all good. Why does this airplane want to keep turning left? Just turn that off. You can track the radios, I think, if you go like that. But that's interesting. It's not available. So normally, if you track the V-lock, this should track VORs, but maybe it doesn't in this simulator. Yeah, no worries. Nice one, Quackers. So normally you use this to track against where you are, but it doesn't seem to want to play, which is interesting. Can I play with other ones? No. Fair enough. Fair enough, we can't do any VOR stuff at the moment. If someone knows how to do that, let me know in the comments or the chat. You can say we're just at 1,500 feet, which is fine for just bumbling around the south coast. Usually between this and 2,000 feet. You can go up a bit higher, depends on the airspace. I don't think this shows. There you go. It says Class A. Airspace at the moment, because because we came out of Gatwick and Quacker's little diversion. You can see Class D is ground 2,500, and then here, I think it showed it, but there you go, 1,500 to 2,500 feet. So if you're below that, 1,500 feet, you can fly around that area, but if you are above it, you need to talk to Gatwick to get permission, and they are pretty busy, so I'm not sure you'd get it. Let's, where can we go? We can always go to the Isle of Wight. Super. 10 people in the chat. Welcome, everyone. If you've got any questions, just ask them. Very happy to answer things about real-world operations or simulator, or any questions about the Just Flight PA28 as well. Starting to descend a bit, so just need to watch our height. Climb up a little bit here. So whenever you climb, just full throttle. Go for a good climb rate. Again, we tend to climb out about 80-ish knots. You go, depending on your rate of climb, right, and how quickly you want to climb, you can pull back. And you'll see that as you pull back, you climb at a higher rate, but your speed will go down because of the angle of attack. And if you lower nose slightly, you climb less, but your speed increases because you're not don't have as much air resistance as you climb. Quite a good job of mimicking the feel. So when you're flying along one of these little aircraft, you are sort of getting, on a hot day, you'll get bounced around just because of thermals and things like that. So a really good example is up ahead, that hill, you're probably going to get some bumps around it if it was windy, because the wind would like whip up against it, or you might get heat coming off it as well. It's all pretty good. So what we'll do, we'll fly down to the south coast of England, we'll go along, break some aviation rules, go along towards Southampton, and then maybe over to the Isle of Wight and do a little lap, and then I might even show you guys what our overhead join looks like, just in case you ever need to do that. It's great though. It's amazing when you fly just how much space there is. Because when you live in a town or a city, you don't really understand from above just where all the space is, but there is loads of it. And when you're going along, you are usually fairly relaxed. You're also looking at where would you go if there was an engine failure, and you can see there's lots of fields that you can choose from. Not that you'd want to do it, but there are plenty of options if you were to have an engine failure about where you put the aircraft. Getting a bit cloudier here, so things you have to watch, like I guess ultimately you don't want to be going into clouds because you're flying visually, and obviously if you're in a cloud you can't see where you're going, but you can see there's sort of, this is narrowing a gap here between the top of this hill and the clouds, so you've just got to be careful that you're comfortable, you have enough space between the two, and you're not inadvertently going to get yourself into this. I might try and fly in a cloud just to show you how disorientating it can be. Through this one and see what it looks like. When you go in a cloud, if you do it inadvertently or there's fog, you're very much relying on this instrument stack here, and there's a separate qualification you need to do to fly non-visually or instruments. A bit of cloud down on the coast, and a bit over that way as well actually. This is why it's important to check the weather when you're going flying as well. You may take off and be in a really nice part of sunshine. Oh, that's just changed. But the weather can change pretty quickly, particularly in the UK. Just gotta watch, not gonna get like trapped anywhere. And like the reality is, if let's say this cloud started coming down towards the sea, all you do is just do a 360 and turn back, go back home, come back another day, right? There's no point in pressing on. We do something called Frida checks when we fly. So Frida checks are fuel, what tank are we on and do we need to change? We could change the fuel tank if you're going to do that. Fuel pump comes on, move to the left tank, just check that the fuel pressure is still holding, and then fuel pump goes off. Easy. R stands for radios, so are we set to the right radios, which we're in a simulator, but normally that'd be, are you talking to the right people, and have you got the next radio set up for where you're going? D is for directional indicator, and that's making sure that your directional indicator here is aligned with your compass here. It can get something called gyro drift, which would ultimately mean that you are relying on the compass because it doesn't get impacted by it. It's because of the I think it's the vacuum in here. Ultimately it doesn't always keep up with turns, and therefore you need to reset this card to make sure it matches against there. Don't know if you can do it in this. No. Hold on. Yeah, it doesn't really let you do it. Normally you push one of these in and the card will rotate. So that's direction indicator, and A is just your altimeter. Are you in the right pressure? You're not going to bust airspace or anything like that. Then we're coming up towards Shoreham. So it's an airport in Shoreham, which is pretty old school. It's got a really Art Deco control tower. Beware flying down by the seaside, because on a sunny day like this, all pilots want to go to the seaside and show their friends what it's like to fly along. So if you're going to fly sort of along the coast down that way, there's probably a chance you're going to find a plane coming back towards you. Just got to be aware of what people's behaviours are and what they tend to do when the weather is good. We're going to turn right and head along the coastline. Good if people got like good general aviation routes that we can try out on the channel, that'd be cool. I'd stick to the UK because I know it well, but again, if you had an engine failure here, it'd be pretty spicy, but you'd probably head over this way. Basically what you're trying to do is get away from buildings and things like that, which is very different to America. In America they have massive highways going through a lot of towns and cities that you can basically use as an emergency runway, but in the UK, because our roads wiggle along, that's not a viable option, and you might put someone in danger as well if you did that. So but yeah, plane's behaving very well. So we get to this cloud. Power! Actually how the flight simulator clouds will react, like if we're going to get bounced around, which you would do in real life. Or if we're actually going to make getting into the cloud. You can do it, little aeroplane. I believe we're not going to stall, that's going to be pretty dangerous. Still below it. Starting to get dark. Just hugging the bottom of it. Quite like to go in and just show you guys what it's like to lose reference points, which we'll try and do. There you go, we're sort of in it, sort of not, but when when you're fully in a cloud, it can be difficult to know if you're turning or not, and that is probably the biggest danger. I don't know if it does it so well in the simulator, but basically if you can't see anything out the front, you could be turning like this and think you're going straight and level because your ears play tricks on you, the water in your ears. But yeah, we wouldn't normally but you can then have some quite exciting adventures if you come out of a cloud and you're on your side and you have to recover. Anywho, we will get out of this situation. The cloud's got a bit of therm on it, which is sort of pushing us up the way, but just slow the plane down and glide back down towards calmer, better views. You can see the seaside down there. We'll head for that. Just trim the nose down. There we go. Get ourselves along the coast. Good feature if you're ever lost is to use coastlines. Very easy to follow. Ooh, other good thing to think about is, so this is a normal range, we're slightly outside at the moment. This little arc that goes here, you can see it's a thick white line and it carries onto here. That's your flap range, so you can only put the flaps out in that white arc there. Not this white arc here, but the thick line here that continues around here. If you do it outside of that, you will stress your flaps. Sounds rude, doesn't it? And it won't end well for you. Actually, they're pretty sturdy, these airplanes. I think you'd be alright, but water looks awesome. You can see out to sea though, a little bit cloudy. So yeah, it's flying very well. It does feel like the real thing, which is really good. Like this. Actually, to fly these things, this yoke is pretty heavy. Just trim out so we're not gonna get any near that water, anywhere near that water. So they are pretty heavy to haul around. They are old school. These are your rudder pedals that look like sort of car brakes, and then on the top of them, which I don't think I'll be able to show. Oh, no, there you go. Those are your brakes there. So rudder pedals are these bits down here, and then you use your toes to push those forward. Good old Piper, he thought of everything, didn't he? It's almost like going down Miami Beach, guys, but in, where are we? Little Hampton? No, Falcon. Alright, cool. I'm loving the way the plane is just descending. I'm like, I've trimmed you out. Why are you still going down the way? Trim up a little bit more. There we go. I always find it quite difficult in simulators to get trim in the right place. It's lovely though. Wouldn't normally go this low if you're in real life. And again, if you had an engine failure, you're probably going to try and not get it on the beach if there's people there, but just in this low tide bit here, and then someone can come and drag you out for a beer afterwards. Very important if you've gone through one of those that you get a beer. Lovely. So what we'll do is we will go, there's Goodwood, that's where the Festival of Speed is if you're in the UK, where they do the cars going up that hill. I think there's a racetrack there as well. What that's showing on the map there is all the circuits that you do. It's quite confusing, you need to know which runway you're coming into, and then that's your circuit for that runway, but then there's a runway going that way with the circuit, so all all good fun. Just keep yourself and your wits about you. Got a marshland here. Yeah, very impressed with this. Southampton, and we'll go across Isle of Wight. Beautiful. You can see the airplane sort of like, so I'm not touching anything at the moment, it's just flying on its own. So you see sometimes it's lifting its nose up, and then speed goes down. And this is when it's out of trim, right? So the speed's going down, so the nose dips because it loses lift, and then as the nose goes down, speed goes up, and you get lift going over the wings, and therefore you start to go up the way. It isn't normally like this when you fly, like you don't get that sort of, it's almost like a roller coaster effect. Climb up a little bit. I love the old school livery here. It's very retro. And when you're in this airspace in the UK, you can kind of fly wherever you want. So I could fly here and not be talking to anyone. I could turn my radio off and I could just fly around. It's probably not that sensible because there are people you can talk to if you get into a spot of bother. But yeah, you can kind of go wherever you want. You just have to watch it if you fly over towns and cities. You're not too low, built up areas, but otherwise, as long as you're keeping below controlled airspace, the world is your oyster. But if we have anyone in America watching this or watching it back, I'm sure you'll confirm that in America there is much more freedoms to fly general aviation than there are in the UK. It's pretty well controlled in the UK. So, over to our left-hand side, ladies and gentlemen, on our current tour of the South UK. That is the Isle of Wight, which is a very nice place to go on a summer's day like today, so we will head there, and we will land the airplane at Bembridge after doing a cheeky little overhead join. This monstrosity that my internet cannot load quickly enough is Southampton, everyone. So if you live in Southampton, I do apologise. That is the Spinnaker Tower. I'm curious to see how long it'll take for it to load in. Adverts. Whoa! It's a good way to store your airplane. Simscot, don't do that. Ugh, look at this. The sooner my area gets super fast broadband, the better. sure that's the Spinnaker Tower there, but we'll see. Also, what's quite cool is Southampton's where the Royal Navy has its aircraft carriers, so you can usually they have like a restricted airspace, but they're usually down about this area. You can see them from a distance. You also get, and this is relevant given VE Day recently, these are like little ornaments that sit in the channel. So like little kind of fortresses that I think the army probably set up and used back in the day. Right, is that the horrific Spinnaker Tower? It's sort of loaded in a little bit, but it doesn't look great, does it? I mean, ugh, come on. Come on, Microsoft Flight Simulator, sort yourself out for the users of people who don't have high-speed internet. Anyway, we'll head over to Isle of Wight and we'll land at Bembridge, which is quite nice. It's over this sort of way. It's over there. Very impressed with the Just Flight model here. It feels a lot smoother than what it did before. It's less clunky. It flies like a PA28. It sort of does that. You can do a quick stall while over the channel and see if we can recover. So power comes back. I probably wouldn't do this in real life, just given we're over water, but and keep it coming back, keep the nose coming back. You need a lot of back pressure to this. It's actually quite hard to do in real life. We'll hit the stall warner in a minute. That's the stall. It's very forgiving. It's not dropping, and then the nose drops. Whoa! Full power. And then recover. Ugh. Part of your training, you have to do that. And then once you're straight and level again, you can bring power back. Lost quite a lot of height there because I just like continued to stall. So that noise is the alarm basically that the wings have lost lift, and therefore the only way to recover from a stall is to point the nose down to get airspeed, put on full throttle and regain airspeed. What you don't want to do, and I can demonstrate this but we'll probably lose quite a lot of height again, is keep the nose. This feels very weird to do in an airplane because you can literally just see, if I demonstrate, normally you just see that. Oh, there's a wing drop. That can also happen. So if you try and recover without full throttle, you can end up in a secondary stall like that, and that is equally as dangerous. So you have to put the nose down first and then recover with full throttle. Beautiful, gang, beautiful. So I know from flying in there in real life that it can be quite difficult to spot Bembridge from the air. You're looking for basically a big old runway, and you can be looking and you're like, where is it? Well, that's Sandown, so it's not there. But if you come over here, that looks like a runway. I remember when first starting to fly, it was the most difficult thing with spotting. It's not like Flight Simulator where everything's lit up. Trying to actually spot where things are, where runways are, particularly grass runways, is really quite tricky. So, see if I can do an overhead join for you guys. An overhead join is basically how you join a circuit if there's other people in it. It's kind of like a roundabout in the sky. Basically what we're going to do is we're going to fly, we're going to land that way because the wind's coming this way. So we're going to fly across these numbers, descend to at 2,000 feet. We'll descend on the dead side, which is this bit here, down to 1,000. We'll then cross, descend the runway, join the circuit, come down here, and then come into land. So it's like a big circle. You like do that. That's the theory anyway. We'll see if it works, everyone. Into Cockpit as part of my free to check, and I definitely don't want to pull the mixture back, but dump that. How easy it is to do an overhead join in Microsoft Flight Simulator, we will see, everyone. Then we'll land, and then you probably will have had enough of what's going on. So, where are we? We're not really approaching this in the right way at all. And you'd probably be doing a lot of leaning forward, backwards, up, down. Up, down. That would have worked. To get a good view of what's happening below you, but... And I'm making an absolute hash of this, but I'll try and do it. Maybe I'll do it from the outside. So if you were going to join overhead, this is the starting point. So coming 1,000 feet above circuit height, which we're not because we're really bad at holding height in Microsoft Flight Simulator. So you go along the top. You can see that's the threshold there. Then what we're going to do is kill the power, and we're going to start a slow descent. Keep carpet in if we're going to do that. Go down the dead side, so we're going to basically parallel the runway down to circuit height. It's quite a nice part of the world, this, especially on a sunny day like this. So we'll have a look out there. You can see there's the runway. Just a gentle descent. You don't need to go too quickly. Now, this does rely on people knowing that you're in here, because if you think about it, as people are taking off that way, you don't want to have a conflict with them. So a little bit of power as we come to 1,000 feet. We're going to cross parallel this bit of the runway. So in theory, anyone taking off should go below us anyway, because we're at 1,000 feet. And then we are going to join the circuit, which we are. So, circuit height, let's call it 1,000 feet, because we're basically at sea level-ish. And we'll then do our downwind. Shouldn't really be descending, Simscot. Keep a bit of power in. You're always looking, basically, where the runway is and making sure you're not losing sight of it. It's just off the back of our wing at the moment. And we cut power. Actually, let's keep it a little bit in. To our base turn. We can put in 2 stages of flap now, because we are almost on final approach. RP, I'd normally keep it out until final approach, but to do it in the simulator is just an absolute pain to do. So I'm going to just clear it away at the moment. Fuel pump would come on. Let's put our landing light on. And you should be able to see the runway. Oh, that's not bad in front of us. Very good. It's still quite high. You can see we got 2 whites, which shows that. Aiming for sort of a glide of about 70 knots. We're about 80 at the moment, so we'll just kill some of that. Full flaps, because we're on final now. You can see full flaps absolutely creates a lot of drag. Keep it about 65 knots over the threshold, and then we'll just plonk it down. Quite low, dragging it in, which is not ideal, but it's okay. Bit of a crosswind from the left, you can see we're crabbing. It's weird that it says we're still low when we're basically with the threshold, but there we go. It's difficult to get the feel of it in a simulator, but everyone, welcome to Bembridge. Here we are. Oh, hello. Definitely doesn't make that noise in real life. Wow, it's like Formula 1. Beautiful. Bring the flaps in, kill the lift, and then we'll park up. That'll do it, guys. That's your Just Flight tutorial. That's how you fly a PA28, guys. Go, spread your wings. We'll be general aviation pilots. You'll love it. Market Bembridge is down here on the left. You roll up to the end. And then you go and have a beer if you're not the pilot. Super. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for all the likes. If you did enjoy it, do give it a little subscribe as well. Hopefully you can follow this if you want to do a flight yourself. Not quite sure about the lumps and bumps on the grass again. It's not usually this hilly, but we will park up. And that's the parking brake in. Let me do my shutdown checks per my checklist. So after landing, carburetor heat is cold. Electric fuel pump comes off. Take out all the lights actually. Flaps are up. Transponder, turn to ground. We'll just turn it off. Strobes are off. Everything's off there. We do keep it 1200, which I told you guys earlier was a major issue of spark plug fouling, so keep it in there. Avionics, we can turn off. Oh, that's the fan. Just don't get confused by that. Yeah, if you ever hot in a PA28, it has a very basic air conditioning unit, which is a fan. I turn this off. Garmin goes away, and avionics master switch. We normally do the dead cut now. Just check. Do that and that. Check for the drop. Turn off that, and then pull this back, and the engine should shut off. Like so. Beautiful. Alright, guys. Hopefully you've enjoyed that. I wonder if I can get out. I can. Excellent. I'm going to walk over there. And I kid you not, in real life, you go into that little hut and you pay your landing fees. And this is definitely not that shape. It's actually a local pub that they have on the airfield. So yeah, guys, I hope you really enjoyed that. The Just Flight PA28 161 variant. Lovely, lovely aircraft to fly. Quackers, you just come back and we're about to finish, mate. You missed our somewhat clumsy landing, but we got it down. But look, guys, really appreciate it. You guys turning in if you're watching it back. Jump into Discord, ask some questions. Otherwise, I will leave you with me running to pay my fees over here. This is an active runway, so we really shouldn't go across it. Anyway, guys, have a good time. Oh, Quackers, you're saying wait. What would you like before I end the stream? Do you want to have the last word? It's very exciting, Quackers. You now got us all on tenterhooks. Ooh, later on, I'm out tonight, Quackers, but put it in Discord so I can have a look, and if I'm around before I go, I will have a look. Super. Look at that little airplane. Alright, guys, we will be back soon, but in the meantime, have a very good weekend. Cheers all.